Hey, what's up? This is Scott at Scott Doty TV. Thank you so much for tuning in today to check out today's very important topic, questions. If you want to influence people, you gotta ask questions. In our context, we're talking about influencing our children. So I want to give you some ideas about this topic of saying, listen, I want to have influence in the life of my child. And how can I help create that sphere of influence in my child's life such that there's not a huge disconnect and then he's off in his universe doing his own thing and he doesn't care what mom says, mom's stupid, mom knows nothing. I think that's a typical complaint from a lot of my clients. There's a really good solution, and it's asking questions. I'm gonna basically recycle here a really good bit of wisdom from the 1930s. In 1936, Dale Carnegie published a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And in the book, Dale basically said, if you want to influence people, if you want to have them in your corner, if you want to be able to persuade them a little bit, you have to show interest in them. You need to ask questions about their life, make suggestions perhaps, be empathetic, you want to be encouraging, all these things that build relationship because you are focusing on them. A couple of quotes from Dale that I quite like. If you want to be interesting, you need to be interested. Talk to someone about themselves, and they will listen for hours. And finally, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than in 2 years by trying to convince people to be interested in you. To be really influential in other people's lives, your main tool is to ask piercing questions that show that you care and show that you are invested in them. Now with our children, how can we do it? Here's the thing. So many kids, 7 years old, maybe less so, but definitely as you get towards 9, 11, 13, forget about it. As they get to places at which they feel like, I don't really want to talk to you anymore, mom. I don't know really what to say to you. I don't know, it feels a little weird. And parents also feel a little disempowered because they don't feel equipped. They don't know what to say. How do I connect with my young son who feels like I'm just old and stupid?
I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom. Right, Regina?
Please stop talking.
And what I'll do for you now is give you a list of just a bunch of ideas of interesting questions that get a student thinking about his day at school such that he feels like, okay, that's cool, I could answer that question. At the bottom of this video, you'll also see some links to some other lists of questions you can ask kids to help them engage in conversation with you. And again, here's some examples of great questions to ask your kids. What was the nicest thing you did for someone else today? Which one of your teachers would survive a zombie apocalypse? Why? Tell me something you learned about a friend today. What is one thing you hope to learn before the school year is over? Does anyone in your class have a hard time following the rules? Tell me something that made you laugh today. Who is the funniest person in your class? Why is he so funny? Why is she so funny? If they played music in the halls at school, what would everyone want them to play over the loudspeaker? What do you think you should do more of at school? What do you think you should do less of? If you could be invisible for the day at school, what would you do? What would you change about school lunch? If you had to go to only one class every day, what class would it be? Did anyone fart today? Will you please teach me something? What's your hardest assignment tonight? What was the biggest challenge you faced today, and how did you do? So there you go. Just a starting point list of ideas of questions for you to engage with your son, to engage with your daughter, at whatever age he or she may be. You engage with your son and daughter through asking questions. He or she feel open to your input and advice. It builds camaraderie, it builds relationship, and you thereby have a stronger say in his life. And that includes his study habits and so forth. There's a little bit more of a mutuality there having been built through your great interest in his life by asking really interesting questions. Thank you so much for tuning in today to Scott Doty TV. I hope this has been helpful. Take this list of questions and go crazy. Send it to a couple friends if you think they could benefit. And again, below, if you have questions or comments, please do make a note at the bottom and I'll respond myself. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you next time on Scott Doty TV.